It's never too early for Lowe's Black Friday deals. Snag some of our biggest savings of the season right now, like 25% off select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees. And get yourself free select DeWalt, Cobalt, or Craftsman tools when you buy a select battery or combo kit before the Black Friday rush. Because everyone loves free stuff, right? Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 12/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Suffering from dry, tired, irritated eyes? Don't let dry eyes win. Use Systane Pro. It hydrates, restores, and protects dry eyes for up to 12 hours. Systane Pro. Triple action dry eye relief.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Two here, Money Moves live in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. We'll have best bets coming up at the end of the hour in about 30 minutes. Jeff Erickson of RotoWire is going to stop by as well, break down some of his thoughts on the prop market for Thursday Night Football, as well as the full Week 12 NFL slate that's coming up. We are going to step into the contest corner in a bit with the Circa Millions lines that have come out, discussing the 5 ATS picks we want to make this week for our contest entry. Man, we were so close to back-to-back 4-1 weeks. Now we went 3-2 last week.
Got to be perfect.
Got to climb a little bit. Yep, got to be perfect from here on out. But still alive, and that will be fun. But let's kick things off diving into Thursday night. The Buffalo Bills and Houston Texans going head-to-head in this one. And in terms of the betting splits, I did think this was pretty interesting. When you go to VSiN.com, our betting splits page, you can look at both a book like DraftKings, where it is the more public, national, widespread book, compared to a place like Circa, where we're broadcasting from, where you do get those bigger bets and more professional wagers that come in. At DraftKings, the percentage of bets and handle on the Buffalo Bills, 79% of the bets, 86% of the handle. Mm-hmm. When you look at Circa, it is completely flipped. Although there's 65% of the bets that are on Buffalo, 84% of the money coming in is actually on Houston taking the points here.
So if you buy into those, and the thought that the sharper support is
on Houston.
Yeah. So I feel better about that. But I do like Houston.
You got the full 6, I believe, correct?
Yeah, I think it's 5.5 everywhere else, right?
Yep, it's 5.5
It's starting
now
to come down. So, in fact, some spots here in Las Vegas, as we like to point out and shop for your best number, but there's a 5 out there at -110 at the South Point. South Point does not alter the juice, so keep that in mind if you're around the area. But I go back to what we talked about. I just think 6 is probably a bridge too far. I mean, you're talking about a 7.5 point difference on a neutral between these two teams. What I find interesting is when we do our Friday market power ratings, one of the things that I've noted that I've talked about a lot has been that the market has had this odd stubbornness when it comes to Houston. It hasn't really wanted to knock them down that much. The irony is the last few weeks, they started to knock them down. You can see them slip down the power ratings. And that's when they're starting to kind of do some damage here. They've won, again, is it 4 out of the last 6 games, whatever it is. Barely got by the Titans, so you can maybe argue that they're a little too high. But either way, I trust from a matchup standpoint that these DBs are going to match up really well with what is now an ever-thinning receiver core for the Buffalo Bills. They're a front that they can rush the passer. I didn't pull it, but McDermott had a good cut in media availability this week where he talked about their ability to not even have to do anything super dynamic in terms of disguising coverages, funky blitzes. It's just that they're good enough. They line up. They're dedicated enough. They just line up and do what they do in terms of a simple defense, and it's effective. And if you look across the board defensively for this Houston team, top 3 in almost every single category. I kind of trust them here against Buffalo, especially, again, we're talking about at home, short week. I think all of those things, when you're talking about catching 6, I was willing to dive in there with Houston.
You mentioned the thinness of the pass catchers. We mentioned this in hour 1, but it bears repeating. Still no Dalton Kincaid as a pass threat option for Josh Allen. Curtis Samuel and Mecole Hardman still out as well. And then Keon Coleman added to the fold for the 2nd straight week. He was benched last week for disciplinary action, and it appears he's going to be inactive once again today. So you've got more limited options. There are still some guys there, but I know one thing you pulled out that Josh Allen was discussing in his media availability this week was trying to get the running back room more involved in the pass game as well. Here's Allen.
Yeah, I think so. I think our 3 backs are fantastic in the run and in the pass game. They, do everything they're asked to do. Obviously, we know what Jimbo is and how well he's been able to run the ball. And Ray's come in a few times and, the run game and the pass game. And now you see him in the return game making some really big plays for us. And then Ty Johnson, who I've said it over and over again, he's the best third down back in football. So 3 extremely talented guys that the more touches you can get them, probably the better that you're going to play as an offense. And, typically matchup-wise, they're going to be favorable matchups because how talented and how quick they are and how smart they are. So, yeah, the more that we can utilize them, the better.
Gotta tell you, I didn't.
I'm out. I was out. I'm out on that one. That was freaky. To what is
okay?
Not
Gotta tell you. On another note, I did not. I don't think that I've heard
Jimbo?
James Cook referred to as Jimbo before.
I had to think when I pulled the clip, I was like, man, I'm like, who's he talking about? Oh, James Cook. So to what we're talking about here. So on the season, James Cook has 21 targets, 21 receptions for 190 yards. Over the last 2 weeks, he has received 8 of those targets and 8 of those receptions and 100 of those yards, or 90 of those yards, excuse me. So he was asked, the question leading up to Josh Allen's answer was, hey, we've noticed you're getting your running backs involved more. What's the deal? It was asked in a more professional manner. So you are starting to see this. So whether that is just a symptom of the opponents they faced the last 2 weeks, Miami or Tampa Bay, or a shift in, hey, some of our wide receivers are having trouble getting a separation. James Cook's a dynamic athlete. Well, let's see if we can make him more part of this offense. So I'd be curious to see. Right now, receiving prop is 2.5, over is plus 119. He's gone over that each of the last 2 games. The targets have been up, and he's gone over that prop in 5 of his games played up to this point too. You do wonder if maybe this is something where they are trying to get Cook out in space, and he is going to have either a higher volume of receptions or maybe be able to go over that 16.5, because one would assume that the times in which you are getting those receptions, screens, out in space, trying to get big chunk plays, and that maybe he is going to get a break off a big catch and run as well.
I will tell you, I looked this up on our AI prop projector tool up at VSiN.com, and it did have him projected as unders on that, but I think the projector tool obviously doesn't take into account what Josh Allen is saying this week. It doesn't know those things. It's just looking at numbers and specifically the Houston Texans defense, what they are good at and what we've seen from James Cook in a larger sample. So take that for what it's worth, but it does have him going under the yards by nearly 3 full receiving yards and under the 2.5, which even the juice on that receptions prop tells you that the under is what the market thinks is more likely. It's plus 119 on the over for that receptions prop. But just from a narrative standpoint, I do think that that's interesting and worth noting. Maybe you can cash a little bit of a plus money price on something that he hadn't done a ton of, but they're trying to incorporate. Any other, from like a prop betting perspective, items that really stood out to you and kind of how the game script can go for tonight?
No, that was the only one that really did kind of stick out. I guess one of the ones that is potentially available to look at is if you have a trust in one Davis Mills, potentially. Mills has not played as poorly the last few weeks than I think maybe the perception is. So that I think is going to be something worth looking at here against a defense which we've discussed. Floor is raised, all those sort of things. You look at the injury report for Houston as well. It's relatively clean, so you're going to have your full complement of pass catchers. Last 2 weeks that has stuck out right now for the Texans has been the emergence of Jaden Higgins. So if you look at the last 2 weeks for him, we're talking about 14 targets, 9 receptions, not that many yards. So the yards per reception hasn't really been there. But whether it's Mills or whatever it is, there seems to be some sort of connection there. So again, 35 targets on the year, 14 of those have come in the last 2 games for Higgins. So maybe that is something worth looking at, and potentially Mills going over what is a very low number, just considering there's not much expected of him. He's played, I think, a little bit better in the 4 games we've seen him, 3 of them starts, than given credit for.
Also, just real quickly for inquiring minds, after Josh Allen had the monster performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he had 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing. His props when it comes to getting in the end zone over 1.5 passing touchdowns is plus 113 against this defense. The anytime touchdown score, though, if you think that he runs it in the red zone, odds on minus 140, 2+ scores for him on the ground, sitting at 4-1. The last couple minutes here, if you want to shift from Thursday Night Football to the team that Buffalo faced last week, Tampa Bay in Los Angeles this week, taking on the Rams. And reportedly, according to Todd Bowles, Baker Mayfield and a handful of guys are pretty sick this week. The quote from Bowles, unfortunately, this Wednesday, a lot of people have taken ill. There's a bug going around in the building. We've had about 5 coaches and 15 players go down. So that helped aid the walkthrough that was yesterday. Quote, there's nothing we can really do about that today. So any cause for concern for anybody who wanted to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that QB1 and a handful of people are not feeling well?
Yeah, I would assume that by the time you get to kickoff, it's going to be cleared up. But you never really like that preparation gets disrupted. We still haven't gotten to 7, though. I mean, there's a couple of spots that are at 7, but it's shaded -120 to the dog side, so you're not really there. The 6.5s are out there at -120. I'm going to assume that even outside of just this illness issue, we probably get to 7 by the time we get to kickoff on Sunday. I think the Bucs are in a pretty bad spot. They've kind of fallen off. As much as I've liked this team, they're in a situation where their defense has really slipped. Mm-hmm. So do you really trust that they're going to be able to stay inside of this number against a Rams team, and specifically a quarterback who has, 22 touchdowns to 0 interceptions on this run that he's been on?
It's insane. That's the exact number. It's insane what he's been able to do.
So I'm this was one side that I thought, I'm going to be interested when we get to our contest numbers, what they give you for this, whether it's 6.5 or 7 for Rams and Bucks.
I know you don't care about these kinds of things.
Here we go.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers 1-7 in primetime games since 2023 when Baker Mayfield joined the team. 3rd worst record in the NFL after the Panthers and your beloved Colts.
What's the Colts record? Or do you just,
it's only
know
low.
that they're
It's like 0-3.
Okay, yeah, okay. Not that many prime. I was going to say, that's why I asked. I was like, how many primetime games
Not
have
many.
the Colts
but look
actually
at how many,
had?
but isn't I think that's pretty wild to think not only the number of primetime games that Tampa has had the last 2 years, but that they've been so bad in those spots.
Do you remember, was it Brady's last year or whatever it was? Remember the trend that kickoffs after, was it 8 p.m. Eastern or something like that? He had some losing record during his time with Tampa Bay, and the thought was because he was so old and he had to stay up so late that the late kickoff times were messing with him.
It's bedtime.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That makes sense. I get it. I totally understand the argument. By the way, because I did mention that AI prop projector tool, if you're placing any bets for tonight or looking ahead to Sunday and you want to see if you might be on the right track or what the projection thinks about certain numbers, if you go to VSiN.com/subscribe, join us on a full-time basis, you get unlimited access to that tool where you can type in the name of any player, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, get those projections. It's paired directly to the DraftKings line. And right now, with the NBA season underway, we're doing the same thing. Points, rebounds, assists, 3-point projections, all of it available at VSiN.com.
It's never too early for Lowe's Black Friday deals. Snag some of our biggest savings of the season right now, like 25% off select pre-lit artificial Christmas trees. And get yourself free select DeWalt, Cobalt, or Craftsman tools when you buy a select battery or combo kit before the Black Friday rush. Because everyone loves free stuff, right? Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 12/3 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Suffering from dry, tired, irritated eyes? Don't let dry eyes win. Use Sustain Pro. It hydrates, restores, and protects dry eyes for up to 12 hours. Sustain Pro. Triple action dry eye relief.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Alongside Jonathan Von Tobel, Stormy Buonantony with you back here live from downtown Las Vegas, home of the world's largest sportsbook at Circa Resort and Casino. Speaking of Circa, going to dive into some of the Circa million lines that have been posted in the last hour. These lines will be static throughout the weekend. For those of us that are in the contest, each week we have to make 5 picks against the spread. JVT and I kind of go back and forth trying to cement our picks. But even if you're not in the contest and you're just trying to make your own personal selections for what you want to add to the account this weekend, I think the conversations are always worthwhile. For us, though, a little bit of pressure for this quarter. Went 4-1 week 1. Last week, 3-2. So we need perfection in every aspect of the game. You drop a pass, you run a mile.
There we go. I like the reference. I was going to follow the Titans. Remember the Titans. A very good movie and a very good reference. So I'm in.
You fumble
have
the
seen
football.
the movie, correct?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just asking.
I will break my foot off in your. Yeah. So it's a good time. We got to be perfect.
Okay.
That said, I know there is one game that we both actually have bets in the account on already to this point, and it is your Indianapolis Colts.
That's
Do you
right.
feel good about cementing that as pick number one?
Yeah, of course. I mean, unless it's like 2.5, which I don't think is the case.
It is 3.5,
That's
like
right.
it has been across the board.
Yep.
So you good with Colts plus 3.5 at
Colts-
Kansas City?
Yes. So you putting this in the sheet? We're good?
Yes.
Okay. I have difficulty getting stuff in the sheet that I need from you.
I don't want to think about it.
All right. So
After you
we can't.
He just told me in the commercial break, by the way, I do not like hand holding, walking people through things.
I don't, so-
I'm going to do my part. Okay. I'll be better.
Thank you. So yes, Colts plus 3.5. I mean, let's see. All right. Bengals, Patriots is 6.5. Am I blind on here? Can you show me Rams? This is the blind unveiling. What is Rams Bucks? Did we get 7 or did we get 6.5?
Get the full 7.
Figured that was going to be the case. All right, we'll put that to the wayside a little bit here. Ooh,
It's a TBD.
okay. You're not going to say yes to this.
You want to lay it with the Saints? I'm going to throw up.
We're going to get 4 with the Browns?
No,
Come
I already told you I have a bet in
4?
pocket on Raiders minus 3.5. I am buying what Jensen Lewis is selling, and I'm not going to go against it. I can't root on both sides. I can't talk out of both sides of my mouth on this one. I'm not doing it.
Okay.
I am all in on the Raiders this week.
Okay. Wow,
Although, is it bad? I
number.
want Shador to have a little bit of success. I would like to see it go well after the punishment that he took this last week and show all the doubters. Like, this is your opportunity, right? If you're Shador Sanders, this is your opportunity to, for the first time, get out there and try to quiet some of the naysayers. Try to tell people, this is why I shouldn't have fallen to the 5th round. I was a true first round guy. Try to make up for some of the shortcomings of your offensive line. Can he do it? Can they do it as a unit? I don't know. I don't necessarily think so. But I would like to see it for him. It's kind of like we have never spoken about a 5th round player in his rookie year that hasn't played more than we have talked about this guy. And I would like to see it go well for him. I just don't think it will.
A wonderful soliloquy.
Thank you.
Very good.
Go Raiders.
Bengals plus 6.5.
I'm kind of with it.
So if we're right, this is a guess. But I'm assuming, again, they're reading the writing on the wall and saying, if we're going to do this, it has to start with this week. And by extension, if Joe Burrow is going to get a couple of practices in before the game, why not put him out there? So if that is true...
This is a bet on Joe Burrow starting.
Yes. This is hey, Joe Burrow is going to start. Now, it'll probably be a very popular side because if we're right and we're guessing this, and many are, then you're probably grabbing 6.5 and a number that's going to close probably 4.5.
4.5, yeah.
Maybe. Again, this is all guessing as to what's going to happen. But at this point, I don't know. I mean, we're trying to do something here. Might as well give it a shot. We go 6.5
I'm
with the
good
Bengals.
with it. They're
Okay.
at home. If we get Joe Burrow, you get closing line value potentially.
Okay.
I'm with it.
What about the Steelers? Your Steelers.
Where's the number?
2.5.
2.5.
Now, this is again, we don't know. He looks like he was back at practice
That's got
today.
good teaser leg written on it.
He was at practice today with the, what was it? Was it
Do
a
we
wrist
have
thing?
that video? If we do, Justin, we could throw that up. But yeah, it is. Aaron Rodgers had some protective gear that was made special for his left non-throwing wrist that he was practicing in today. He was taking snaps under center, trying to get comfortable with it. And he has been pushing to play by all accounts.
I'm going to assume that he's going to play. And I tried last week. It didn't work. I have been dying to take my shots against a 7-3 team that has a -6 point differential. And that is Chicago. They're a fine team. They're not as good as their record indicates. I don't know if they're better than the Steelers, which is what this line would indicate ever so slightly. 2.5. I make home field 1.5. I think the Steelers might be worth a play here, which in my core hurts me because this will be the second straight week we've used the Steelers, but it might be the case. It might be worth using.
This is obviously a very different team than any of the ones that Rodgers has been on before, but 25-5 as a starting quarterback, including the playoffs for his career against the Bears. He's won each of the last 8 meetings since the start of 2019. They talk about his ownership of that building in Soldier Field. I don't hate it. So
you're right. Yeah.
yeah, if he does, just get his name up on the rafters. He's won so many games there. But in all seriousness, though, I could see it here. So I don't know if you want to firmly cement that, but I am game with Steelers plus 2.5.
Okay. I've suggested a couple. In true fashion, you have shot down a few.
You don't like the one bet I have in pocket.
Well, what else you got?
Hold on. I'm trying to write things down. I got Steelers plus 2.5.
I apologize.
You're supposed to talk while I think because we have a 6-second rule.
No, that is true. So the others that we could put, well, I need your thoughts on whether or not you really want to use your 49ers on Monday night. 7-point spread, total of 50.
I don't love 7 on a standalone game. Do I think that could happen? Yes, but I would prefer not to use that one if we can.
Okay, shooting down another one. So what do you got?
Take the over in that game. It just feels like we're going to get points.
Can't play totals.
Feels like we're going to get points. We should throw that in there. Why not? Let's see. Falcons, no.
Falcons?
You want to get... I like it as a teaser leg. I don't know if I want to bet it right out. What about the disgusting Titans getting nearly 2 touchdowns?
I mean, if you like it, if you're down. 13.5, catching Seattle off of the big loss against Los Angeles. Titans, I think, are good enough on. The problem is the only trepidation I have, and if we can't find a fifth leg, then this might be the ask. We know the Seahawks have been very good on the road. They've been very good against bad teams. We've seen it time and again where against these teams, it's almost like a bloodletting where they will dismantle them. So, special teams, defense, offense, they've done almost everything in these matchups in which they have very much the better team.
I didn't fact check this, but I did see
it's a good way to start a sentence.
In the usually the ESPN research team is pretty good. And in the ESPN Sports and Information Group research pack for this game, it said that Seattle has never been a road favorite this large. Ever?
Like in their history?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ever.
It's interesting.
So that was, I thought, an interesting note that this is not a role that as a franchise they've ever been in before. So is that number maybe a little bit too big against a Titans team that, say what you want about them, and I've said a lot of bad things, have been plucky at home? So I don't know. We don't have to do that
throw
one.
Throw it in there. Don't bold it. Just throw it in there.
We don't have to do that. So I'm trying to see what are other options here. So Jets and Ravens, which I don't really... Do you like anything in that one? I don't either. I could be tempted on the Cardinals +3 at home against Jacksonville.
You would have a better feel for that. I think you wanted to bet that game over, correct?
I do.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to get there on it ultimately, but I feel like Cardinals and 49ers are two
this is
over
a partnership,
teams right now.
So if you like a side, I will blindly say yes.
Listen, just like our audience members have tweeted at me this past week, when's the last time Stormy bet a side? I have one this week, okay? I actually have 2 this week, but it's hard to have 5. I like teasers. I like wiggle room. I like totals.
Well, what are the 2?
I've been better at betting totals.
What are the 2? Oh, Raiders. Okay, if you want to use the Raiders, we can use the Raiders.
And I bet the Colts. So those are my 2.
If you want to use the Raiders.
You're very anti-Raiders, though, and I feel like you're just going to be texting me all these mean things during the game.
I won't text you at all.
Oh, is that an early game?
No, it's an afternoon game.
Okay.
You'll be asleep.
I'll be away from you at least, which is good.
Actually, no, you won't be asleep because your travel this week is much better. So I assume that you'll be up and ready to go.
I'm not going to need a Sunday nap for the first time in 13 weeks, which is a little bit
so
wild.
So then you can feel every bit of shame as this game goes down.
The devil. We need 2 more to cement.
Okay.
We have Colts, Bengals, Steelers, firm.
Mm-hmm.
We have not bolded the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
What about the Vikings +6.5?
I can't trust 9 again.
Okay.
One would say he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Other way around. Sheep, wolf's clothing.
Have the Cowboys turned enough of a corner getting more than a field goal at home against an inconsistent Eagles team?
No, because I think the Eagles defensively are so good that even that offense is going to have a tough time. Actually, I'd rather play Philly there than anything else.
Do you just want to lay the 7 with the Rams in a bounce back type of... I know it's weird to say bounce back spot when they won the game.
Yeah, it's not a bounce back.
But it was not a good performance for them.
Sure.
And I think it might be important for them to try to get back on track in a good way at home against a Bucs team that's ailing.
Yep, you can put that on there.
All right, I'm good with that.
Got to figure out the last one. We can use the Texans.
You said you don't want to do that.
I mean, you don't. But we're clearly having an issue deciding on a fifth
We have
leg.
a lot of issues.
I mean, we do. Including, I'm not going to say it. It's not all your fault.
What?
I mean, at some point, you got to come to the table with something here.
I've had 2 of these are mine.
We agree with them. We agree. What do you mean 2 of them?
I like the Raiders. Let's just
All right, let's use it. Okay, good. There we go. We're using the Raiders -4 against the Browns. Justin, can you add Browns +3.5 to the best bet stock for me? Thank you.
I hate you with just a deep burning passion inside.
I mean, that way it's 2 things. I can root for 2 things at once. Either way, I'm happy.
You know what? I'm glad we got Jeff Erickson coming up. I can split my time here. We got to step aside. Going to dive deeper into the prop market for Thursday Night Football and Week 12. He is a Bengals fan too.
Yep.
Very curious his opinion on all things Joe Burrow coming up next.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Of Money Moves, VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM Channel 158. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Very excited, as always, to welcome our good buddy Jeff Erickson to the program on the Progressive Guest Line. Senior editor over at RotoWire, also host of RotoWire's Fantasy Sports Today on Sirius XM Channel 87. You can follow him on X at Jeff_Erickson. And the big news over the last 24 hours in the NFL, my friend, has been your Cincinnati Bengals seeing QB1 Joe Burrow back at practice, full participant, all the question marks about whether or not he's getting back out onto the field. First things first, do you think he should, I guess is a fair question, and are the Bengals live to actually make a push in a playoff spot to you?
Yeah, I kind of feel like queuing up the but why GIF that you see going around on Twitter all the time when you see something like that, because it's too late. They're 3-7. The damage is done. If you look at their schedule, New England this week, at Baltimore, at Buffalo, then Baltimore again. Do you really think they're not going to get 2 more losses of the rest of the season? And seven losses alone might be enough to eliminate them. But the real answer is players play. I mean, you go back to all the way back to Michael Jordan in his second year. My friend Mike Dempsey was on our podcast bringing up that example of someone that said, "No, I'm going to play." You can just look at baseball this year. Chris Sale. The Braves are out of it, but no, he wanted to play because that's what players do, and I understand that, and I applaud that sort of mentality. I just think it's too late. He can't play defense. So that's the real problem. He can't play safety. He can't play linebacker. You need to clone like 7 good defensive players before we start talking about a real defense. But as a fan, I'm happy to see it. As a fantasy pundit, it makes my job a little bit more difficult. As a bettor, there's some opportunity probably.
First off, congratulations on the correct pronunciation of GIF. That will go down. Appreciate it. Let's start with tonight, Thursday Night Football. Anything we like here this evening in terms of some props?
Yeah, I have a couple. I like Nick Chubb and the over 24.5 rushing yards. And I know his usage has been low the last couple of games, and that's kind of why I like it, because I don't think that he'll have that same low usage against a Buffalo team that really struggles against straight-ahead runners. We saw what Sean Tucker did last week against them. We've seen other running backs exploit them as well early this season. I looked at Woody Marks. That's at like 80.5 rushing receiving yards, and I think that's just a little too high for my preference, just because we don't necessarily know the usage. So I'll go with the cheaper route instead and go with Chubb. But I do think that's the way Houston, if they're going to have any sort of chance in this game against Buffalo, it's going to be that they're going to be able to run the ball successfully against them, keep Josh Allen off the field.
Well, I guess with that in mind, we can go to the other side as well with Buffalo. And it seems like weapon-wise, it's been Josh Allen or James Cook, and that's about it for a while now until the pass game finally exploded a week ago. Do you think we should go back to the well with James Cook and what he has been able to do despite how good the Texans' defense has been?
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm talking against my fantasy interest here because I have a lot of James Cook, but I don't think it's a great night for him. Houston run defense is pretty solid. If you look at the last 4 running back damage against them, it's not very high. A bottom 5 team in terms of teams to run against. So I kind of like the under 74.5 rushing yards for James Cook in this game here. It's a difference when they get him on track, but they haven't been able to do that lately. They don't have Dalton Kincaid, which means they don't have as many 12 and 13 formations out there as they like to run. So I think this is again another game where Josh Allen is going to have to pull out a little bit of magic. Let's hope we get the quarters 2 through 4 Josh Allen and not the first quarter Josh Allen from last week. No more chest passes, please.
Oh, what was that?
Who knows? All right, let's move on. A couple of these as we look ahead to next week or this coming week. 9, J.J. McCarthy, the alter ego, the Wolf. What is our expectation for him this week against the Green Bay Packers?
I feel like Mr. T in Rocky 3. My expectation is pain. I think that there's not going to be a good setup here against this Packers defense. Really good defense, even when they've been struggling. They're losing games like 10-7 and losing 16-13, things like that. The defense has been solid all along. You can find a 192.5 passing yards prop over at BetMGM. I think it's 187.5 at other places for McCarthy. I'm going under either way, but might as well get the higher yardage total because the juice isn't that much different. So I think on the road in the elements, there'll be a little bit of win, not as bad as that Monday Night Football game against the Eagles, but still enough to be a factor that I think it'll affect McCarthy negatively. Let's keep on fading him. We're going to punch down against J.J. McCarthy.
How about with the Arizona Cardinals? Michael Wilson looks like he's going to be back in that number 1 spot. When it comes to the receptions number, you were targeting his over. Why do you like that?
I think against the Jaguars, they've if you look at their latest numbers, they've been pretty strong against receivers. But then you look at who they played. They played the Chargers, who couldn't pass block at all. You saw the Raiders, who don't have a healthy receiver. They have Trey Tucker as their top receiver. And then you have the Houston Texans, who also have a really bad offensive line. I think the Cardinals are at least functional in terms of pass blocking. Wilson's one of only 2 games in town. It's Trey McBride and Michael Wilson. So you get 4.5 receptions as the over-under there. I'm going to go that way instead of the yards. I think that's a better attainable number there. But I think Wilson's going to get upwards of 10 targets again. So I think Brissett and Wilson can hook up for at least 5 receptions. So I like that one a little bit better. Trey McBride's prop is at 7.5. The yardage is pretty high on him. You love him in fantasy. You're going to be playing him, and it's a good setup there. The Jaguars have been toasted by tight ends lately too. So I think you can't go wrong that route. I just think Wilson's number is a little bit easier to hit.
All right, let's go to the NFC South. Saints find themselves in a rare position. They are favored against the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah. What are we looking at here? There's some pass catchers we want to target for New Orleans.
Yeah, I'm going to go after Chris Olave, another only game in town type of guy. They traded away Rashid Shaheed. Before the bye, he had over 100 receiving yards against the Panthers in that win over them. Tyler Shuck has gotten him the ball on a decent amount in those first 2 starts. Came just short of that 68.5 number that's up there for him right now in his first game, but that was against the Rams, and that game flow was a little bit odd. I do think against the Falcons, who just got torched by Tetaroa McMillan last week, I think you're going to see a little bit more of the same for Olave. I think he'll get over 100 receiving yards. It's set at 68.5. If you want to do any, I don't really play too many teases when it comes to props. I actually don't do any of that at all because I can't, because I'm out here in California. But besides that, if I were there, I probably wouldn't tease it up. But at the same time, if you're feeling chancy, I think you could do that with Olave. I think he has a big day.
RotoWire senior editor joining us here on the Progressive Guest Line, the one and only Jeff Erickson. And I was surprised, especially considering you're just talking about your Cincinnati Bengals, that you have a prop that's going against them here for the game coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, shocking, right?
Yeah. Who are you targeting for an anytime touchdown and why you like them?
So the Bengals are the tight end portal. You want to use your tight ends against the Bengals every single week. Their safeties and their linebackers are the worst in the league. We see it every single week. Darnell Washington might not have scored on that iconic play last week, but he big brothered 3 different tacklers on one play. Couple of different instances where that's happened. They've given up 11 receiving touchdowns to tight ends on the season. Let's go with Hunter Henry. He's always there for us. It's kind of like the Tyler Algier of tight ends. He's always kind of hanging around, sometimes rostered, sometimes on the waiver wire. A solid player. And you can get a plus 143 anytime touchdown over at Bet Rivers. It's like 135, I think, at FanDuel and DraftKings. But as always, shop around, find your best price. But I do like the chance of getting a touchdown out of Hunter Henry. On the other side of that coin, with Jamar Chase, they weren't able to find the second spitter. So he is going to definitely be suspended for this game. They upheld that suspension for this game. Andre Yoshivas should probably see a lot more snaps, a lot more targets. I like the over 3.5 receptions for him. If Burrow plays, all the better. But even still, I think that he gets a decent amount of volume in this game.
We were curious if Burrow plays, where do you think this number goes in terms of the side?
It can't go that much lower than the 8.5 that I've seen it at. It moves the needle. It has to. It's Joe Flacco. I mean, it's Burrow versus Flacco, but he can't replace Geno Stone. He can't replace the core linebackers, the 2 rookie linebackers that they have out there. So I think New England can just play name your number, and that's the reason why I don't think it goes that much lower. Definitely not below 7. So at most 1.5, I think, is what it moves. I don't think it goes beyond that magic number. Now, you guys know more than me about that line movement and things of that nature, but I'm maybe it's just the self-hating Bengals fan in me, but I don't see it moving that much.
Yeah, Jeff, we're sitting at 6.5 right now at DraftKings.
Are we really? Okay.
Yeah.
I stand corrected as always. I'm good at getting corrected. I'm often wrong.
No, but it is interesting just to note that that is the thought process with Joey B being potentially back available. Jeff, thank you so much for your time. As always, we appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Jeff Erickson. I was glad that he brought up Darnell Washington, by the way. Did you see the clip from the St. Brown Brothers podcast? They asked him, because he's listed as I think
is this why I know how much he weighs?
Yeah.
How much did he say it was?
He was listed as like 265.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm 3'11".
Okay. Yeah. There's no way he's 260. I didn't know that's what he was listed at. There is no shot.
No, that is a big man.
Yes, it is.
But I love watching him catch the football, I'll tell you.
Well, I like the open field
Barreling.
runs. I mean, how many times did he catch it out in the open field? You're watching him rumble down. That's great.
So much fun. So good. On that note, okay, we do have to step aside here real quickly. When we come back, we have a lot of bets to delve into because I'm going to be taking off for the weekend. So I've got college football and NFL plays, teasers that are in pocket. I also did want to give a quick shout out to Josh Herman when we were talking about the USC Troy game. Said, make sure Stormy clarifies which Trojans she's rooting for. Didn't think about that. Yes, USC Trojans. We're laying the 18.5. Let's go. But those bets and more coming up as we wrap up this Thursday edition of the program next.
Lowe's early Black Friday deals are going fast. Don't miss up to 50% off select major appliances. Plus, up to an extra 25% off when you bundle select major appliances. And with Christmas around the corner, you're gonna need more string lights, right? Save $4 on GE LED 100 count string lights, now just $5.98. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 12/3. Selection varies by location. Select locations only while supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Do you want the ultimate Vegas weekend? Have no fear. VSiN and Circa have you covered right now. The first 100 new VSiN Pro annual subscribers who sign up using our promo code Circa are going to get a free 3-night stay right here at Circa Resort and Casino, where we're broadcasting from, January 2nd through the 5th, plus a day bed out there at Stadium Swim during the final weekend of the NFL regular season. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, those pools are heated. You'll save 50% of the monthly price and get a full year of VSiN Pro as well, which includes the daily best bets, exclusive betting splits, AI-powered prop tools, 24/7 video, and every betting guide that comes out from the college football playoff through next year's NFL season. Don't miss your shot at this exclusive Circa getaway. You can sign up at vsin.com/Circa, promo code Circa, CIRCA. I live here in Vegas, and that sounds awesome just as a little staycation option. Circa is, I heard some people on my flight the other day as we were getting set to board talking about staying at Circa and the water pressure on the showers. I was cracking up because I know that's something that's been talked about here and I hear often, but like just I'm a innocent bystander listening in on somebody's conversation. They're like, dude, the shower pressure at Circa, fire. It's like, okay, I see you.
I didn't know about that, but I will say my deep cut observation is that the elevator response time is tremendous.
Very quick.
Yeah.
And as somebody who very fortunately got to taste test every like item of food at every restaurant here at Circa, can also confirm they've got a lot of really good options here. So Circa, the place to be. And I placed a lot of my bets on the Circa app going into this weekend. We've got a lot of stuff to get to. Yesterday, 2-2 for me on the hockey plays. It was good at least to see a little bit of green on the spreadsheet again. Needed that. And especially since the two winners yesterday were the plus money plays on the Ovechkin anytime goal, wild cash against the Carolina Hurricanes. The Ovi shot on goal props made me so aggressively angry because he had 2 shots on goal and a goal in like the first 8 minutes of this game and then did not have another one after that. How does that happen?
Yeah.
He had one more shot missed. So
Well, you know why it happened.
Because I texted you and I was like, good start. Because I texted you and said, good start. Tell me.
It's exactly what happened.
It is.
A butterfly flaps its wings over the lake and then a tsunami.
It's the rules of betting. You don't talk about it. You just don't.
Don't talk about it. You be about it.
How's your night?
That's why after my results were in, I was like, hey, I'm gonna tell you, after Stormy was belly aching about how bad this has gone, I was like,
my plays went awesome.
I got both of mine.
All right.
Pacers plus 1.5 against the Hornets. Rockets got sweaty. Cavs came back, and it looked like the Rockets were going to run away with it, but Cavs were doing their thing. Ultimately, Rockets pull away late into the fourth quarter to get a strong win on the road against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So you get 2 wins there with the Pacers and Rockets last night.
Okay. You have some hoops tonight as well if you want to get going on your plays of the day.
Sure. We'll go in our order because I know that's what our graphics crew likes. I will be a good soldier here. We can start in the – do you want me to start with everything? National Football League. Texans +6 tonight against the Buffalo Bills. I'm in. Let's go. Think it's too much. I do think this Texans team is more formidable defensively. I think Davis Mills has played better than give it credit for. Look under the hood. Some of the numbers for him have been okay. Not as bad. Think your floor is raised against this Bills defense. On the flip side, think these wide receivers, very thin wide receiver room. I think he's going to have some trouble against these DBs getting some separation. Texans +6. NBA, as you mentioned, Hawks money line -102. Think they eventually go off as a favorite here against the San Antonio Spurs. Had a brain fart there. 76ers -2 against Milwaukee. Did get the news that Joel Embiid would not play today. That was somewhat expected. I think we're fine. Paul George will be out there for Philadelphia, as will Tyrese Maxey. This number right now, about 1.5. I don't think I would move a number based on a guy that hasn't been playing, not being available. Still think the 76ers are live despite that. So Sixers -2 for me. It is 1.5 pretty much everywhere else at this point right now. Also, Ryan Rollins, we will play him today over 27.5 points and assists for the Milwaukee Bucks. This has gone down to 26.5, but this is one of those situations where, much like when Austin Reeves was by himself with nobody else and everything ran through him, I think Rollins is going to be in the exact same situation with Giannis Antetokounmpo not being available. And the last one, blindly doing it because why not? Troy coming off of a double overtime game against Stormy's San Diego State Aztecs, hitting the road once more to take on USC. We'll lay the 18.5 with the Trojans.
With the USC Trojans.
Correct.
Got to make sure we clarify once again. But
no, alternate line. I'm laying 18.5 for Troy. That's right.
But yeah, I'm rolling with you on that one. Just like have a little fun team play in college hoops tonight. Why not? It does feel like a letdown spot coming off the big win over the Aztecs. And I am rolling with USC in college football this week as well. Since we haven't seen the double digits to this point, I am just going to tell you I'm rolling with at least the team total if I don't end up buying in on more over 23.5. And you see the BYU money line that I gave out earlier this week, just playing it a little bit safer with them just to win the game. Although I do think they're going to cover the 2.5 as well. But USC team total over 23.5, slight juice -120 at Oregon. The Oregon defense, I know, has only given up that many points twice this season. And so people might look at this and say, listen, their defense isn't going to let this happen again. One of those was in the loss to Indiana. The other was the 2 overtime game at Penn State. But tell me another offense on Oregon's schedule that has been on par with USC other than Indiana. Mm-hmm. There's not one. Lincoln Riley is one of the most creative play callers in the sport. They are balanced. They can run the ball. I love the way that Jaden Mayava has had so much chemistry with his pass catchers. Mekhi Lemon has been great. I think he and Jacoby Lane are going to cause at least some problems for what has been such a great pass defense for Oregon. They, as a team, have gone over this number every game but one this season themselves. And while their defense has some injuries, and I know that might be what would steer some people away from taking the points in this game with USC, in my mind, that just says, okay, well, that means the offense has to score more. So if that is the case, like, again, team total over 23.5, I think feels fair for USC. I'm also rolling with the UNC Charlotte 49ers at Georgia this week.
Let's do it.
This stat I could not get away from. 31-1 against the spread. The Georgia Bulldogs are under Kirby Smart as a 40-point favorite. They also have failed to cover 7 straight games when favored by more than 20. And I know that UNCC is not any good at football, but I think conceptually where Georgia's at this season, they just want to get out of this game, lock another W in the win-loss column, and be healthy so that they can move forward and look ahead to the final week of the season in the playoff. So I don't think that there's any part of Georgia that says we need to clobber UNC Charlotte this week and blow them out. They're going to do that without really having to try. And I just feel like, given the historical numbers and the way that Georgia has kind of approached these games in the past, that it's not going to be a fun sweat. I'll tell you that. It's not going to be fun for you if you take the points with me on UNCC, but I think that we can get there. Houston money line against TCU as well. We saw all that money come in on TCU against BYU this past weekend. They got torched from the jump, and I know Houston doesn't have the same home field environment as a Utah or the run run game or the out front, any of those things, but they're still a good team that feels like they have something to play for right now. And TCU feels pretty broken to me. And just even watching the body language that I had in front of me on the sideline last week, guys were getting into it with each other. Josh Hoover screaming at Eric McAllister. The defense didn't have any juice. I feel like Houston at home in this spot against TCU can get it done. And then in the NFL, we mentioned the teaser earlier, the 49ers as a leg, as well as bringing the Colts up to 9.5 against the Chiefs. I'm playing the Colts just in general on the spread this weekend as well, plus the 3.5, getting that hook over the field goal. And I'm laying it with the Las Vegas Raiders against the Browns, even though JVT and I are oppo. So we do have a show bet. We have a show.
Whoa, we haven't made it official
Oh,
yet.
it's not?
I'm just saying. I mean, if I'm picking a side, it would be the Browns, but.
And then just to put it out there, 2 pending SGTs for primetime.
What does that mean?
Contemplating a same game teaser for tonight, contemplating one for Monday night as well.
Wait, so this is just your thinking about this?
Well, I don't need to give out a Monday night football play today.
Yeah, you do. Let's go.
Well, I think I'm going to end up doing this.
What if it gets up to 8.5 over the weekend? You never know.
Not.
You never know.
It's not.
Famous last words.
Yeah, every time I say something's not going to happen, it inevitably happens. But yeah, I like the 49ers to win that game, and I already like the over in the game, so I like it over 43.5 instead. Mm-hmm. So, pending.
Okay.
Pending.
I mean, I like the Raiders-Browns game, as we talked about yesterday. I bet the game under the total. So I do think it's going to be a pretty ugly game. Some spots are starting to show 35.5, so we'll see if that gets there. But 36.5 yesterday, so it's down to 36.
Okay. Well, and I lean under today. I think that it's going to be – I don't think it's going to be nearly that ugly. That's why that total is as low as it is. But I think that we get a lower scoring affair today, too. And that's why I thought that the same game teaser could be in play even for Thursday Night Football. Just you're in a position where you're getting more points in a team in a game that's already a relatively lower total game, and then bringing that up to take the under. Feels good.
I mean, it's huge for Houston, as we talked about. They're still, like, life support, really in there for a wild card spot.
Yeah, I mean, this is a huge wild card playoff spot game. Huge.
Of course it is. As right now, to your point, Buffalo is a wild card team. Mm-hmm. They are not in control of that AFC East, and they want to maintain because they still, of course, have a path to get a 1 seed as well. Or, well, they're still alive for the 1 seed, but to win the AFC East.
Are you excited that I'm gone tomorrow?
No, because it means more work for me. Not that I'll miss you or anything.
You're the worst. For Justin Emery, our wonderful producer behind the glass, Jonathan Von Tobel, I'm Stormy Buonantony. Good luck with your bets, everybody. I think someone out there will miss me, even if you don't.
Your dad's
someone
watching.
will. Thanks, Rich.